We're going to be walking through how to case this window that we have here. So I just installed it, and right now what I'm making is the inner, I guess, jambs you could call them, for this window. And so basically the measurement that we first care about is how wide the boards are going this way. So basically to the outside of the drywall, to the inside of the window. And I use a combination square to just check a bunch of different points. And then I go with the smallest one because you can always caulk the gaps. And so then I rip my trim boards down to the right size on a table saw. And then once we've done that, I measure on either side of this window, and you pick a reveal. But in my case, these windows are 71.5 inches wide, and then they are 47.5 inches tall. And these trim boards, I think they're about 3/4 of an inch thick on each side. So to make my life easy, I just made the outer dimensions of this box right here basically the same. So it's from the outside edge here to there, it's 71.5. And then I cut 2 of those boards, and then I figured out what the length of this inner vertical part of my box is going to have to be. And so in my case, that turned out to be about 46 1/8, because the 2 top and bottom guys came out to be 1 1/8 inches when you sandwich them together like that. So now I've got a box that I can put up, and I've used 2 2-inch brad nails on each side. I assembled this on the ground so it's all flat to make my life a little bit easier. And now what we're gonna do is we're basically gonna put this guy up there. All right, here's what it looks like. You can see where that miter comes in, and I can shove this guy over. So it lines up with it, just like that. You can check the other guy. See that, at least within a 1/16, we're on the same page. And up here, I'm gonna do the same thing. Just line up the miters with the edges. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and I'm going to stick some shims in here, and basically all I'm doing is I'm trying to make sure I maintain that consistent gap. So that gap looks to be about 3/4 of an inch. So I just want to make sure I keep that 3/4 of an inch gap around the whole thing. I'm going to push this guy up against it like that. And I will tack it in place with a brad nail. I'm going to use 2-inch 16 gauge brads for that around the perimeter, and then we can do the outer casing for this bit. Okay, so I've got the bottom tacked in here in 3 places, so now this thing is held in place. And with my combination square right here, I have roughly a consistent reveal all the way around. And now, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some brad nails up here. So what I'm going to do is, I've got play here, so this distance. And what I want is I want this top edge right here to line up with this miter right here. So if I take some of the rulers or whatever they give you for free at the paint stores, shove that in there. Now you can see that with this guy pressed up against that, I've got that miter where I want it. So I'm going to tack a brad right here, and then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. And I'm also pushing this into the wall so we've got a nice, or as flat of a surface as we can for when we put that final casing around it. Okay, same story right here. So along this path, again, this thing's flopping around like this. So with my caliper, or I'm sorry, my combination square set to that reveal, if I come here and I look at this reveal, you can see that it's a little bit short. So if I take one of these 1/4 inch pieces of wood and I shove it right here, and then I check it, you can see that we're a lot tighter and closer to that reveal. So now I've got more of a consistent reveal along the top edge here. So now I'm gonna tack a brad through this piece, and into the header. Okay, so the next step here is to do the actual outside casing. And so what I do is I do the sides first. And so I know how long this board is on the side, the legs. That was 46 and an eighth. And because I want to have a 1/4 inch gap, I add a quarter plus a quarter to 46 and an eighth. That gave me 46 and 5/8. So that's how long I cut this piece and that piece. And then when I brad nailed it, I angled it slightly so that this 2-inch brad nail goes through this outer casing and into the jam, I guess is what we're going to call this, here on this side. So now I have no brad nails going into the actual studs. It's only this casing right here. And did the same thing on this side. Now it's easy for me to measure the distance from this side to this side, so I make sure that I get a good measurement. So in my case, that was 77 and 11/16 is what I came to. And so now I'm gonna go cut that piece. I'm also gonna measure the top in case it's off by a little bit, but then we'll be able to install those guys. Okay guys, this is the finished product. So I made that piece a little bit short, so it's on me. But yeah, here's how it looks. And put some wood filler over all the brad nail holes. And now we're gonna come in and just caulk all the edges, and then we'll be ready for paint.